Members, I rise in support of SCR 73 to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King, a life and a legacy that is too often reduced to 4 words in one speech: I have a dream. And while that gives us an interesting insight into one part of King's great legacy, it is too narrow and too limited a view of this great man for us to focus on. A few weeks ago, we paid tribute to another iconic fighter for justice, Nelson Mandela. And that commemoration was a poignant reminder of the fact that the issues of justice and human dignity that Dr. King spent his life fighting for are universal. This year, I've purchased the book In a Single Garment of Destiny for all of you. And I hope that you read it. It's a book that is dedicated to drawing out the role of Dr. King, not just as an American civil rights leader, but the role that he played on the world stage, fighting for these broader questions of universal rights. That message is made more powerful by the words emblazoned above the rostrum: Legislatorum est justus legis scendere. It is the duty of the legislature to pass just laws. That duty that each of us has embraced on this day reflect on the life and legacy of Dr. King, and I believe that it is really best captured if you read the entirety of the letter from a Birmingham jail, a letter that really laid the foundation for the title of the book that you all have before you. One of the most moving passages, I think, in the letter is a discussion of what just laws are. But another is a reminder that Dr. King issues in the letter, where he says that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, bound together in a single garment of destiny. The fight for justice that we see is a universal fight. The struggle for civil rights that Dr. King gave voice to is part of the same struggle that Mandela led in bringing about an end to apartheid, to our struggle to live up to the first charge of our Constitution, to build a more perfect union. And in an era where so many Californians continue to struggle with so many issues like unemployment and joblessness, we must remember that justice for all also means opportunity for all. The truth of that statement is made much more poignant when you consider that Dr. King spent the last days of his life in Memphis, Tennessee, in Memphis, marching with striking sanitation workers, workers who were denied the same collective bargaining rights as others because of their race, workers whose humanity was so questioned, who had been so subjugated in the way they were treated in contrast to other workers in their city, that they embraced the message that they wore in their signs that said, I am a man. A reminder of the incredible dehumanizing nature that discrimination and oppression can play. And that's why it's also important that one of the most significant demands that the hundreds of thousands of folks who marched on Washington just over 50 years ago and gathered on the National Mall had was to call for a national minimum wage that in today's day would be $15 an hour. The struggle for justice is inextricably linked to the struggle for opportunity. And our efforts today are part of the same fight for justice that in '63 was manifest with hundreds of thousands marching on Washington. In '64, with Lyndon Johnson declaring a war on poverty, and in '65, with the passage of the Voting Rights Act. These aren't one-time occurrences, but these are long questions about what our trajectory of justice is. And so when we see setbacks like limitations on the interpretation of the Voting Rights Act, these are things that we have to pay significant attention to. In this important work and all of the work that we do, we have to honor the legacy of Dr. King and answer his call for justice. Justice in the political arena, to be sure, justice in the social arena, but also justice in terms of economics and opportunity. By continuing the work that he did, by taking up the cause of justice, we're truly working towards building a nation and a society where opportunity abounds for every person, a nation that Dr. King envisioned when he referenced the great quote of Amos 5:24, where justice flows down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.